welcome. This is a series to help you open the chest and stretch the hamstrings and the quadriceps and the hips. Let's begin by placing a folded blanket. A firm blanket is helpful in folding it lengthwise, or you can use a bolster or a firm pillow that's rolled like this, right behind you, right up against the low back. And you might need a little extra behind that too. So making sure you have enough support to support your whole spine and head. Right up against the low back, and then you can lean back onto that support and just begin to melt the arms out to the sides and feel that chest opening experience. Heart opening, chest opening. And then you can fan the arms out to the side and then begin to lift them up, bringing the hands together above the forehead and moving the elbows towards each other. It's okay if they don't touch. And then we're going to breathe with the arm movement. So inhale, open the arms out to the sides. Feel the chest and heart opening, backs of the hands to the earth. And exhale, palms together, elbows towards each other. Inhale, opening the arms out to the sides. Feel the chest and heart opening. And exhale, palms connect. And a few more rounds like that, slowing down the breath, slowing down the movement a little bit to match the slow breath. And seeing if you can match the arm and hand movement to the breath as precisely as possible. So we're really cultivating present moment awareness. One pointedness of mind. Very integrating for the mind and body. Beautiful. After the next inhalation, you can pause with the arms out to the sides, and as you exhale, see if you can just invite the body to relax a little more fully into this position. And you might even begin to straighten the arms out to the sides. So whereas the elbows were bent, now the arms can be a little bit straight. Then just see how wide you'd like to open the arms out to the sides. Maybe at shoulder height, maybe a little bit above shoulder height or a little below shoulder height. So just attune to your body's cues and see where the just right opening is for you this morning or today. And then we'll just relax into this supported chest opening pose, supported by the bolster or the blankets beneath you. And with each exhalation, just see if you might invite the chest and the heart to soften open a little more fully. With each out-breath, just inviting the body to relax open just a little more. Just a few more breaths like that. I'll offer you some silence so you can really be with your own experience. Good. And maybe taking one more deep breath in. And this time a long, slow exhalation through the mouth. Beautiful. Then you can begin to press the hands down into the floor to lift the body up. And we're going to move into a quadricep stretch. So we're going to bend the left knee first and bring the left heel towards the buttocks. Keeping that support back behind us, we're going to lower the body back down. Now this might be plenty stretch for you. Feeling that quadricep and psoas, getting a nice stretch here. And you can just breathe into that stretch. If you'd like more intensity, you could explore removing the support out to the side. Move that out of the way there. And And then just reclining without that support. But this is quite an intense stretch, so most of us will want to put the support back behind us. So please feel free to do that. You could also put a little support under the knee. If the knee is lifting, you can put a little support under that knee. So there's a little bit of a compression here in the low back, just a low back bend. And so those joints are getting a little bit of stress. And we're getting a nice stretch to that left quadricep and hip flexor. So just bring the attention there, and you can kind of bathe that whole area with the awareness. As the muscles relax and stretch, they're tugging on the joints. And there's an appropriate stress that happens to the joints as the muscles relax and the joints are tugged. And that appropriate stress that comes from these long poses where we are just relaxing into the pose as much as possible. Appropriate stress that comes from that helps to increase the release of synovial fluid in the joints, helping the joints to be more pliable and pliant. So we're investing in the health of the joints at the same time that we're stretching muscle. So lots and lots of benefits. There's also the psychological benefit and the mental health benefit of that focused awareness, present moment awareness that the body sensations will bring. So just bringing attention to the sensations in the left side, left leg and hip, the low back, and just bathe them with awareness for the last few breaths in this pose. Good. Take one more deep breath in. Long, slow exhalation. Good. And then you can use the hands to press yourself up, lifting back up. I'm going to invite that same leg out in front for a forward fold. Moving into what's known as Janu Sirsasana, half-legged forward fold. You can put the left foot into the inner right thigh, left knee out to the side, common kind of runner's stretch, and bring the hands onto the right thigh and hinge forward from the hips. If there's really tight hamstrings or low back, you might even want to support yourself by placing the hands back behind you. Otherwise, the hands can be placed on the right leg. Just make sure that the hips are rotating forward as much as possible so that the hips aren't back and the stretch is coming from the upper body. So we want to lengthen through the low back, lifting up from the hips, and then having the hips come forward. So we're protecting the low back. And again, you can use the hands for support if you'd like some help with that. There's another variation of this posture if you'd like to explore by lifting that left foot up, placing it on top of the right thigh. Some of you, that will be plenty. Or you could even cross the left foot over and bring the left foot towards the right hip. This puts a little more pressure on that right leg. It deepens the stretch in the hamstring. So again, you might even more now need to put the hands back behind you. Or walk the hands forward and melt forward from the hips. So make that decision for yourself if you'd like to have the left foot on the inside of the right leg, or if you'd like to have that left foot out to the right side near the right hip. Make the choice to have the hands back behind you for more support, or the hands out in front. And then we're going to relax into this position for a few breaths. Letting the muscles stretch, inviting the muscles to tug on the joints, and inviting that present moment awareness for the mental health benefit. Just bathing the areas that are speaking to you, bathing the areas of the body that are communicating with you through their signals and their sensations. Just bathing those sensations with awareness. It might seem kind of strange, but you could also explore communicating to those areas. I'm listening. I'm right here with you. And maybe even sending some care or some curiosity their way. I care about you. I'm curious about your experience. When we communicate with ourselves and our body this way, it actually activates the social circuitry in the brain. And it nourishes the relationship with the self, leading to even more profound mental health benefits, psychological benefits, while we're in the pose resting anyway. So just see if that is of interest, just to send a message to those sensations. I'm right here. I'm listening. I'm paying attention to you. I care. Good. Take a few more breaths here. Take a nice deep breath in. And allow for a long, slow exhalation. Good. And gently rise. And we're going to unwind that left leg, and we're going to swim the right leg out to the side and eventually back behind us. So we're still focused on the left side. So the left knee is bent out in front, and now the right leg is out back behind us. And then just set up the hips a little bit so that the hips are square to the front of the mat. Instead of leaning all the way on that left hip, we're going to have the hips squared to the front of the mat. For some of you, especially if you have knee injury or hip injury, this might be too much pressure. So in that case, I'd like to invite you to roll onto the back instead. And then hug the knee into the chest, bringing left hand to left knee, right hand to the foot. You can also do this by bending the right knee and giving a little support to the left ankle. Okay? So that's the modification if there's any knee or hip injury. Otherwise, we're going to remain in this one-legged pigeon pose. Hips are square, left knee is bent, left foot is near the right hip. And this is stretching the right psoas muscle. It's stretching the right quadricep a little bit. And this might be enough for you, or you can inhale, arching up and back. And exhale, walk the hands forward, lowering the forehead down. And you can make the palms come together, invite the hands to connect, extending the thumbs. And if you rest the thumbs onto the point between the eyebrows, this is actually an acupressure point for stress relief. So just taking a few breaths in the pose, sensing the sensations, the left hip, the left hip, receiving a nice tug here as we just relax into the pose, just bathing the outer left hip, the hamstring area, outer left hip. Lots of presence. Beautiful. And take a nice deep breath in. Open the mouth for a nice breath out. press the hands down to the earth, lifting the torso back up. And then we're going to swim that right leg out to the side and bring it forward. We're just going to take hold of this right knee for a moment and take hold of the foot with the left hand. Cradle that right knee in the right arm and either take hold of the foot with the left hand, or you could explore placing that foot in the elbow. For most of us, that won't be possible, so please don't force or strain. We're going to practice honoring the body above the ego here, if possible. And then just rock that right hip. Just rock it side to side. And as you're rocking gently, and this can be a slow rocking, just see if you might gaze down at that right leg and just thank it. Thank it for carrying you. Thank it for supporting you. Thank it for helping you be mobile, helping you ride a bike and walk and run and hike. There's lots of gratitude to this leg that carries you around all day without any acknowledgement or without even being asked. Just thanking that right leg. Beautiful. Take a nice deep breath in. Notice what it's like to thank your leg. Long, slow exhalation. Good. And then you can release that right leg down. Extend the legs out in front. And we'll go through the same series with the other leg. So you can find your support if you've let go of it. It's nice to start in that supported position. We're going to bend the right knee this time. Bring the right heel towards the right side of the buttocks and hip. Back of the right foot on the floor, just like we did the other side. And from here we'll recline onto the back with the benefit of the chest and heart opening position. And again, you could explore removing this support, but only if that feels really good to remove it. Only if there's a lot of flexibility in the right quadricep and hip flexor. If we try to stretch the body beyond its zone of comfort, the body will kind of panic in response and tighten in defense. So it's okay to be in the uncomfortable zone where there's a deep ache, but we don't want to put the body in a panic zone where it seizes and tightens up in defense. So just find that just right space. And then you can invite the awareness to the sensations in the body, most likely along the right leg, the right quadricep, hip flexor, maybe in the low back. And if there's intense sensations, if there's deep achiness, there's a tendency for our awareness around that deep achiness to get tight around the sensation. There's often a danger feeling or an uh-oh feeling that comes. And that tension around the area of sensation can actually deprive that area of sensation of blood flow and then hence oxygen flow. And that can lead to pain, an experience of pain, increased pain in that initial area. So see if instead of tightening around the interesting sensation, you can practice softening around that area of interesting sensation. Notice how you can soften around those sensations. The more you soften around those sensations, we're bringing awareness there in a way now that helps increase blood and energy flow to that area. Awareness and visualization help to increase blood and energy flow and thus oxygen flow to that region of the body. So I'll offer you some silence so you can practice bathing those areas with the awareness and softening around any areas of tension. Good. And take a nice deep breath in. And allow for a long, slow exhalation. Great. And press the hands into the earth, lifting the body up. You can remove the support out of the way. And then invite that right leg out in front. Allow the knee to fan out to the side, out to the right. The right foot can come to the inside of the left leg for Janusirsasana. Hands can be supported back behind you or out in front. Or you can lift that right ankle up onto the left leg and maybe cross it over so that the right foot moves close to the left hip. And again, this puts weight on that left leg, which intensifies the hamstring stretch. You might even feel a calf stretch if you lift the toes up and press out through the heel. So from here, you might start with the hands back behind you, or you might begin to walk the hands forward, inviting the whole pelvic bowl to tip forward. So we're not just having the pelvic bowl back and we're reaching forward from the upper body. That won't do as much help or benefit. It won't give as much benefit. So bringing the hands to the floor, maybe rocking the pelvic bowl forward, and then from there bringing the hands out in front if that's beneficial. You might choose to keep the hands back. Making your choices, honoring the body above the ego whenever possible. In yoga, there's no extra points for having the hands out in front versus back behind you. There's no extra points for having the foot crossed instead of on the inside of the leg. It's really about listening to the body and attuning to its cues and being in relationship with the body and receiving those communications from the signals the body's sending to our spinal cord and brain, that information highway. And so then we can communicate back to the sensations. I'm receiving you. I hear you and I'm listening. And I care. I care about what you're communicating to me. So I'll offer you some silence so you can practice listening to the body as it speaks to you and speaking back to the body with care and curiosity. A few more breaths. Good, and take a nice deep breath in right into the area of discomfort. And a long, slow exhalation through the mouth. Beautiful. And you can unwind a little bit, bring the right leg out to the right. I'm going to swim the left leg out to the left and back behind us for one-legged pigeon pose. Again, roll onto the back and just hug the right knee into the chest if this is too hard for the knee or the hip. Otherwise, we'll square the hips out in front. So typically we roll onto the right hip a little bit and the left hip is lifted. So we're going to draw the left hip forward and the right hip might lift up off the floor a little. That's fine. You could also place a bolster underneath that right hip if the hips are really high off the floor. You might just slide a bolster under that area or the blanket. Otherwise, we're going to do a little back bend to stretch that left quadricep and hip flexor. So you can inhale here. And then exhale, see if you might want to lower the forearms down to the floor. And if that feels good, maybe bring the elbows down and bring the palms together. And if that feels good, maybe lowering the forehead down so that the point between the two eyebrows rests onto the thumbs for the acupressure point of stress relief. And then we bring our attention to the right hip. Appropriate stress to the right hip. Just bathing that right hip with your presence, listening, receiving the communication that the sensations are sending your way, and communicating back. I'm listening. I'm right here with you. I'm curious about your experience here. My mind might wander, but I'm going to gently come back to you. I'll gently bring my attention back if my mind goes somewhere else. So I'll offer you some silence so you can stay in connection with your own system, your own body, practicing coming back again and again to the body and its sensations. Good, and just notice what unfolded for you in the silence. And take a nice deep breath in. Long, slow exhalation through the mouth. And gently lift the torso up. We're going to lean into that right hip and swim the left leg forward. And take hold of the left leg with the left hand to the knee, right hand to the foot. And then you can wrap the left elbow around the knee, cradling it. You might place the foot into the right elbow as well, but that's a pretty deep, intense stretch. So most of us will bring the hand to the foot. And then slowly begin to rock that left leg. Call this rocking the cradle. Just nurturing that left hip with this gentle rocking movement. And it affords us an opportunity to look lovingly at the left leg, the warm, caring gaze. And if this feels awkward, you could just close the eyes and see if you might send some appreciation to the left leg for walking you around all day, for helping you be mobile, for letting you ride a bike, or take a hike. Just giving thanks. Just giving thanks to your left leg for walking you. Thank you, leg. Thank you. Good. Take a nice deep breath in. Long, slow exhalation. And then you can release the left leg out in front and bring both legs out in front. And you can bring the arms out in front and slowly roll the back down, vertebra by vertebra, part by part. And then we're going to close with a flowing twist. And first we'll set up the twist so you can see what it feels like, and then we'll flow. So you can hug the knees into the chest. Give a nice little tug, a little hug. And a nice practice here is to place the hands on the tops of the shins and then press the shins into the hands, resisting with the hands. So inhale here, press, and exhale, relax. Then bring the hands to the outsides of the knees, press the hands into the knees, press the knees into the hands from the outsides. Deep breath in and relax. You can bring the hands to the tops of the thighs, the quadriceps or near the knees, and press the thighs into the hands, press the hands into the thighs. Deep breath in. Exhale, relax, and then bring the hands to the insides of the knees and pull the hands apart as you press the knees into the hands. Take a deep breath in and exhale, relax. Beautiful. That's just allowing some benefit to the hip joint. Then we're going to invite the arms out to the sides for a flowing twist. To begin, we're going to lower the knees to the right, and we're going to just roll the head heavy on the floor to the left. So this is a reclining spinal twist. You can lower that right leg all the way down, and the left knee might be in the air a little bit. Lots of benefit to moving the spine in all of its directions, including rotating it left and right. So exhale here. Inhale, knees to the chest. And exhale, knees to the left. Head rolls heavy on the floor to the right. And then just pause here for a few breaths, just finding yourself in the pose. Noticing the sensations that come. And then we're going to flow with the breath more fluidly. So inhale, knees to the chest. Exhale, knees to the right, head to the left. Inhale, knees to the chest. Exhale, knees to the left, head to the right. And continue. See if you might slow the movement down even more fully than I was instructing for. So you can really savor each sensation. Luxuriate in each movement, deepening presence with yourself, with the body, with the breath that's flowing through you. Deepening presence. Just a few more rounds like this. Moving at your own pace, tuning into your own internal rhythms to move and breathe. Good, and after the next full round, you can roll all the way over onto one side and just pause there in a curled up fetal position for a moment's rest. Just kind of curling up sweetly with yourself. It's taking a moment to offer a warm embrace of yourself. And just see if there's any message you'd like to send to your whole system. A message of leadership, a message of care. I care about you. I'm here for you. I'm listening to you. To see if there's any other kind of message you'd like to send to your system today. And just notice how your system responds. Good. Take a nice deep breath in. Open mouth, exhalation. Beautiful. Then you can press the hands into the earth and lift the body up to seated. And thank you for practicing today, listening to the body and honoring its cues. Be well.